We are going to talk about the importance of play, how it affects our ADHDers. Frankly, it really improves and it benefits everyone to play, even us adults. The neuroscience behind everything and what you can do at home to support your children because play is so powerful. All right, let's dig in and let's talk about specifically. So the focus of this chat is really going to be mostly focusing on children with ADHD, right? However, all things that we say here are applicable to any child, and frankly, even to us. So when I talk about the neuroscience behind things, you will see that it's going to make sense for everyone. So ADHD, right? We know that children with people with ADHD, you either hyper focus on something, so you're like, you're in it, right? Or you're easily distracted. And it's really hard for you to focus. So your attention management is difficult. Okay. So it's not hard for you to pay attention to something. It's hard for you to manage your attention with something. Um, we know that energy levels with people with ADHD fluctuate. So, there's an extreme version of everything with no in between. And emotional regulation is also a challenge. So we have lots of high highs and lots of low lows, right? Again, that in between, that middle Goldilocks zone is difficult. But play and movement are fun and essential for supporting our kids with ADHD. And again, frankly, all kids. We know that at We Thrive, like we use play, incorporate play a lot in our learning. Teachers who learn to incorporate play in learning will see their children have greater academic success and the learning will stick better. Okay, so if you are struggling at home, find yourself an educational therapist like We Thrive Learning that incorporates play and movement into the sessions because we understand why um, this is so beneficial for all kids, but especially those with ADHD. So our goal today is for you to walk away knowing the benefits of play and movement and to share with you practical suggestions for incorporating them into your daily routines. So it doesn't feel like something that you're doing extra or something that you're checking off, but something that you're going to naturally and easily incorporate into yourself. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the cognitive benefits of play. Okay, we know kids with ADHD struggle with executive function skills, right? And if you've been living under a rock, executive function skills are all the skills that we need to manage tasks. So it's how do we get from point A to point B? Um, Children with ADHD struggle with EF skills. Okay, unstructured, imaginative play helps. So I'm actually going through something right now. So when I'm looking at schools for my son, right, who yet he's going to start going to daycare within the next year or so, I'm specifically looking for schools that aren't going to give him worksheets, but that are going to incorporate play and movement into his day life. I want him to be a kid. I want him to have unstructured imaginary play. I want his imagination to really develop. And we're going to talk about why this is so important. But as a society here in America, we have lost track of something that's really important. And if you have read Jonathan Hadid's The Anxious Generation, you will read in his book the importance of play and unstructured time for our kids. But in America right now, we're seeing a big push in teachers for teachers to get through the curriculum, to get through all the standards. And when we are pushing these kids so hard and moving at such a fast pace, the time that these kids have in school, we're noticing there's less and less time dedicated to unstructured play, specifically for the younger kids, but also for the older kids. They don't have enough time to socialize, and that's their form of play once they get older, right? Neither in school nor after school. And so as a nation, we really need to take note of what is happening and realign with our values, frankly, to see what changes need to be made. And I know this isn't an easy fix, but again, like after our chat today, you will walk away understanding and hopefully incorporating more play and movement into your children's life and also prioritizing it more. So, but unstructured imaginative play will help your child develop their planning skills, problem solving, and even their working memory, which working memory is not something that if someone tells you they can play a video game and like you guys are doing things online and that improves working memory or processing speed, that's actually not true, right? And so we also know that imaginative play incorporates empathy, I mean, develops empathy and emotional regulation. It's also really helpful for social emotional development for our kiddos, okay? Because when they are playing, they are engaging with others. So even with my son, when I remember when he was very, very little and we used to go to the park, we would just go to the park and honestly just sit on a bench to watch other kids play, right? And even now where he's not walking, he can just stand. It's really helpful for him to see how other children are playing, how they're moving, how they're engaging with each other, and then for him to start engaging with them. So we go to the park even though he is at an age where he doesn't talk, he's not walking, he's barely standing. But kids need this, right? It's good for their social emotional development. So it teaches them how to interact, how to engage with others, and teaches empathy and perspective taking, like sitting in, how the other person's feeling. Imagination develops here because they are playing together, right? They're in a different world. Their visual memory or like visual their imagination truly is just developing. They learn how to form and maintain friendships because again they're learning how to problem solve, how to engage, how to apologize, how to advocate for themselves, how to communicate with others, emotional regulations, and of course social interaction and cooperation. It's so helpful for these kids to be around, for any child to be around other children, whether young or older, mostly particularly their age, but just to be in a setting with other kids is super important for them. Play and movement will also reduce stress. I know when I'm stressed or my husband is stressed, like we exercise, right? My husband actually plays lots of golf to kind of decompress. And so it's a way for us, whether you're in nature, exercising, your mind is you're just in a lighter state. You're in a state of flow when you're playing and you're moving. And we know that when we are in a state of flow, we are in the present moment. And when we're in the very present moment, we are not anxious. And so it releases a lot of pent up energy and emotions. You come back and you feel better. You're in a better move. It's a break from your day to day stress and worries to play and move around. And then we know it improves mood and behavior, right? Because again, when you come back, you're in a different state. So over the weekend, I needed some space for myself. And I left my home and I just went for a walk. And when I came back, I was in a different headspace, right? So I could have a much more logical and reasonable conversation. So it is and there is a lot of science actually that exercise and movement, you burn the cortisol. So super, very helpful. It improves executive function skills as well. So it will positively impact the neurotransmitters in our brain. So when we exercise and move or play, there's a production of dopamine, and I can never pronounce this one, but norepinephrine. I can never pronounce it, but there is a production of it. And exercise actually increases BDNF, which is, if you want to think of it like your brain's um, multivitamin, right? It is vitamins for the brain. It allows for neurogenesis, neurogrowth, and that we get this through exercise. So it's almost like your brain is like you're tending to your brain by exercising. Martial arts. So what are some these are, I want to share with you some of the activities that kids with ADHD particularly benefit from. Martial arts, yoga, tennis, and golf are excellent activities for kiddos with ADHD. There's a lot of research behind those and why that's so important. And actually, lots of the ones I just listed will work both sides of the brain, which is very helpful for all people. Um, so what are some strategies for you as a parent? We know that right now we're all scrambling for time, right? Everything is kind of on the go, 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 go. Um, we want to set a time though aside for unstructured time, right? And we know that families right now are very busy. Setting that unstructured play or movement for yourself, for your family is so helpful though. So treat it as if it were an appointment, add it to a calendar so that you guys can really make sure you make space for this and model to your children how important this is for your family. So, play and unstructured time or movement needs to be scheduled into our calendars if we find that we are not sticking to what we have intended to stick to. Encourage your children to participate in sports or to exercise together as a family and find activities that your child really enjoys, right? So if your child does not enjoy swimming, do not push them to be on the swim team. This is going to support, if they find something that they will enjoy, it's going to support their intrinsic motivation and they will willingly want to go to the activity and begin to see the value of exercise and play and movement, right? You're going to see them once your kids get into sports actually and like are really in it. You're naturally going to see their planning skills begin to develop, organization, time management, etc. All of these skills naturally begin to develop through the busier they are and the more they exercise. If I'm being honest, it's like it's an organic way for them to improve their mood functioning. By the way, if you are want for organic ways to improve your children's executive function skills at home where you have to do nothing, visit wethrive.learning.com and sign up to receive it on our website. We will send you a booklet with the 4 strategies that I'm sharing that that are mentioned there. All right, so I really hope that you have walked away from this with some understanding of the neuroscience and the cognitive benefits behind play and movement, particularly for kids, children, young adults, etc., with ADHD, and that you begin to incorporate and prioritize this space and time with your children much more. It's so important and something that it's easy for us to lose track of when we are very busy or when we live in a community that's really high achieving and academics are the one thing that parents are really scheduling time for. So if you know that if you look at the calendar and your kiddo is pretty scheduled through tutors and um, extracurriculars and all this stuff. Really try to make sure you guys make some time for them to have some unstructured time for them to sort of decompress and chill and play and have fun. It's going to have a cascading effect into many other areas of their life where you and they will see the benefits.